been several locomotives that have been received a higher than usual amount of orders. During the diesel era, some notable examples are the F7, GP9, SD40-2, and the most recent one, GEVOs. They dominate the American and Canadian railroads. 10,000 GEVOs built.
When the EPA announced their Tier 2 emission standards in 1998 for railroads, which came into effect in 2001, GE has not released publicly how much money they spent on developing the locomotive. GE locomotives featured a 7 FDL prime mover up until the GEVO's development, but if GE wanted to meet these new standards without risking fuel consumption, they would have to build a completely new prime mover.
GEVOs feature a 12-cylinder GEVO 12 prime mover, normally outputting 4,400 horsepower out of 4,600 arbitrary number pounds of tractive effort at 13.7 miles per hour. Starting tractive effort is another arbitrary number, pounds. They weigh 400,000, 3,000, more arbitrary numbers. Length is 74 feet 6 inches. Height is 16 feet 1 inch. And the width is 10 feet 3 inches. This differs from the different GEVO locomotives slightly, but go look it up.
When the EPA announced Tier 4 in 2008, GE had to develop yet another GEVO to meet this new standard. Thus, the Tier 4 GEVOs were born, which started production in 2012, and production is still going on. Because of this back radiator, they had reached the maximum allowed height for locomotives. You can identify them because of these tall radiator hoods. They're there to accommodate a larger cooling system for the more powerful engines inside them. This isn't unique to GEVOs. SC-78's Tier 4s have a tall radiator hood also.
Railroads began testing the GEVO in 2005, and the performance was great. Railroads saw the benefits with the GEVO and soon placed orders for the locomotive. UP has the most GEVOs, with 1,000 plus GEVOs in its fleet. They have special designations as the C45 ACCTE. This is not unique for GEVOs, as Union Pacific has their own designations for.
There are different variants of the GEVO, each for a specific need. The most common type of GEVO is the ES44AC, with there being 3,000 units sold in the world. Other variants of the GEVO include the ES44DC, essentially the ES44AC, both DC traction motors for high-speed intermodal trains. BNSF, CN, CSX, and NS operate the ES44DC. The ES44C4, again, they are similar to the ES44AC, but have A1A trucks, meaning that the center axle for each wheel set is missing a traction motor. Only operate the ES44C4. There's the ES40DC operated by railroads like NS and CSX. The most common Tier 4 GEVO is the ET44AC. Railroads that operate the ET44AC are BNSF, Union Pacific, CSX, NS, CN, and CPK.
There is a high chance you will see a GEVO on a train, and the higher chance that it is leading. The reason it is for crew comfort, as crews admire the GEVO. As said by an engineer on trainsorder.com, as an engineer and a rail fan, the GEVO wins hands down. The GEVOs are good looking. They have fantastic get down and grunt power and killer dynamics. This puts it perfect if you couldn't understand crew's love for it. Its power and comfort. Simply, they are easy to work with. A lot of rail fans hate the GEVOs, including me, because of how many GEVOs there are. There are a lot. But you have to realize many of your favorites like the GP9, SD40-2, or F7 were once like the GEVO, dominating the American railroads. You may not like them now for how common they are, but they are doing a service by keeping the environment clean. Simply Railroads wants to use the best locomotives possible, and the GEVO caters to those needs.
So what is the future of the GEVO? Well, with BNSF recently receiving ET ES44 ACs from GE, so based off of this, the future is very bright for the GEVO. Again, this does not dictate future prospects for the GEVO, but if things keep going the way they are, the GEVO is not going anywhere. Alas, we have the 10,000 plus GEVOs in the world.
There are plenty of heritage units, GEVOs from railroads like CSX, Canadian National, Norfolk Southern, and BNSF. It makes sense to use your most common locomotive as a heritage unit, as if a part needs to be replaced, it is easy to find. Another reason you might find a GEVO as a heritage unit is for crew comfort. These locomotives may be different on the outside, but they are all the same on the inside. A GEVO's competitor is the EMD SD70 Ace. Has a lot of heritage units used on it as well.
The GEVO is a locomotive that shows General Electric's capabilities to make world-class locomotives. GEVOs may not be everyone's favorite, but one day they will be gone, like every other locomotive in service today. There are many variants of the GEVO, and each railroad has GEVO as its top model. Some railroads even have custom GEVOs to cater to those railroads' needs or wants.